What do you want, Mom?
Look who finally decided to pick up the phone.
Do you need more blood?
I don't need blood. I read your book, BoJack.
Oh.
It takes a real narcissist to think anyone wants to buy a book about him. You know how I feel about Anne Frank.
That was a diary.
I read the parts about me, the things I said to you. You must think I'm a real monster.
Mom.
I don't want to fight you, BoJack. I just wanted to tell you, I know you want to be happy, but you won't be, and I'm sorry.
What?
It's not just you, you know. Your father and I, well, you come by it honestly, the ugliness inside you. You were born broken. That's your birthright. And now you can fill your life with projects, your books and your movies and your little girlfriends, but well, it won't make you whole. You're BoJack Horseman. There's no cure for that.
BoJack Horseman saved my life. I know that there was an article written by the creators of BoJack Horseman about how they were distraught over the fact that people were using BoJack as a means to excuse their behavior. But I never did that. I never used BoJack as an excuse, as a way to say, look, what he's doing is fine, therefore what I'm doing is fine. I never looked at it as a way to allow my poor behavior. Watching BoJack always made me feel more safe, because it was such an accurate depiction of what depression looks like and being self-destructive, and I'm those things. And seeing it in somebody else, it made me feel less alone. I was born broken, and that's my birthright. I can see it in my parents. My mom did a great job raising me, but my dad, not so much. My mom suffers from depression. It's very mild, low grade, and she's probably had it since she was 12 years old. My dad is, well, he's my dad. You know, at the beginning of Free Churro, when Butterscotch picks up BoJack, it was eerie to watch that, because it looked just like a conversation I had with my dad. And seeing that was weird. It was weird to know that other people's dads were just like mine. I'd always felt so alone. My entire life, I felt alone because I didn't know what it was like to have a dad who didn't hate you, who didn't blame you for his problems. I was always jealous of all my friends who had these amazing fathers. And then there was mine. My dad is a drug addict. A high-functioning drug addict, but still a drug addict. He would disappear for months at a time, going up to a log cabin that his father owned before he died. So I would go months and months and months without seeing my dad. And I didn't know what was happening at the time. I was a kid. How could I know? But I knew something was wrong. I knew that I didn't have the same relationship with my dad that other kids had with theirs. And I was always so sad. And BoJack made me feel less alone about that. So much less alone because his dad was horrible to his mother. I guess in some ways I was lucky because my Butterscotch and Beatrice were both in my father and not my father and my mother. There have been times that my dad has shown lucidity and has said to me the exact words Beatrice has. It's always so eerie. There have been times when I've wondered, did they take this from my life? Did they sit down and record a conversation when I was a kid or even 3 weeks ago? So BoJack never excused my behavior. BoJack never sat there and made me feel like it was okay to continue the actions, but he made me feel like I'm not alone. BoJack saved my life in a way no other show ever has. And it's not because it made me feel okay to be this horrible person who uses other people or has no regard for other people or anything like that. It's because it was showing me what I was doing and why I was doing it. BoJack saved me by being the sober voice I needed to hear in order to know and understand why I'm so fucked up. And that help is there and there's hope, and someday, it may not be tomorrow or the day after, but someday I can do and be better. BoJack saved me not by excusing my behavior, but by showing me how wrong I am to be the way I am. And that's something I will always be grateful for. I show all my friends this show, and every single person always has the exact same reaction of, wow, that sounds like me. Wow, I understand what's going on so well. They become so acutely aware of their life. All because of a talking cartoon horse. And I think that's a really amazing, beautiful thing. It's so rare that a show will show you who you are as a person. I remember I was doing some on-the-job training, and my trainer was a young girl. I think she had just turned 21, and she was obsessed with Riverdale and 13 Reasons Why, and I remember staring at her and like she'd have tears pouring down her cheeks, and this show was like so real. Like they deal with real problems. And I was just staring at her. I didn't want to destroy her illusions. But no, they show a dramatized version, a justification. These shows justify your horrific behavior, not BoJack. BoJack will sit you down and smack you right in the face and say, none of what you're doing is okay. None of this is okay. You are wrong to be this person. Do not be this person. It shows you mental illness in a way you need to see it. Because how can you know what you're dealing with if you've never watched it in somebody else? And that's why I'm so grateful for BoJack. What would I be like right now if I had continued who I was before BoJack? I don't think I would have the solid footing that I have now. I don't know if if anything that happened to me since the start of BoJack would have affected me in the same way. I probably would have just continued being who I was. The final season of BoJack really hit it home for me. Because BoJack strangled his girlfriend. And a year and a half ago, I was dating somebody. And one day he got very, very angry with me. And he pinned me down, wrapped his hands around my neck, and started to squeeze. And I tried fighting back at first, until I realized there's no point. He's not letting go, and I'm not strong enough to push him off me. So I finally just let go and laid there. Until he let go, because he'd won. Seeing that in a cartoon from a character that I had related to so much, to see him as the aggressor, it hurt. It really hurt. Because that's where I was with my now ex. I cared about him and I loved him and I knew he was suffering and hurting, and I kept making excuses for his behavior until there were no excuses left. And I had to live with the aftermath. And seeing it made BoJack unforgivable. And now I'm afraid for BoJack because that show saved my life. And I don't want it to go down such a horrific path where it can't save anyone else ever again.
Hey, Tanisha?
BoJack? I was thinking about what you said.
Yeah, stop doing that. Nobody should be thinking about the things that I say.